Hey mate, hope you have been well. Okay, let's get jumping into this. All right, so obviously since we've last caught up, a fair bit of time has gone by. So we're kind of feeling like or understanding there's probably going to be some regression happening here. Okay, but it's pretty easy to get back on track. Right, so a few things that I like that you've been able to keep up is some nice club face alignments. Okay, so club face here is not looking too bad. Little bit weak, but not too bad there. Okay, and sorry, what I mean by weak is we would classify square as matching spine angle. Okay, so that first line, if that was matching spine angle, that would be kind of somewhere around there. Okay, so just a little bit stronger would be ideal. But look, at the end of the day, mate, it depends on what happens throughout the swing, as opposed, if this is good or bad, if that makes sense. So getting to the top of the golf swing looks pretty good. Okay, lead arm parallel, not too bad there. Potentially a little flat, but not too bad. Okay, pretty good. Up to the top, nice club face alignments, nice wrist angles. Okay, so there's definitely some nice things going on there. Downswing wise, we start off okay. Okay, club's kind of working back down the same line as it come down, but I just want to check one thing here for you. So there's lead arm parallel. Okay, do we steepen or shallow? That's the question. Okay, so what we're looking for here is same spot in the downswing. Where's our club? Where's our arms? Okay, a little bit steeper, right? We're starting to steepen that golf club just a little bit. So we've got a little bit of steepening early, and I would also classify you've got a lot of steepening late. So from about here onwards, that club's working, the center of mass is working too far in front, getting the club outside the hands, and we're getting some wipey fades, right? So that right leg still working a little out and away. Okay, obviously we've always kind of thought, let's try and work that right knee a little bit more in towards the left knee. So that right leg here, when there's a big gap in between there, we always know that that trail foot's not really banking in enough. Okay, it's not working the right way. So what do I see from a face-on position? All right. So I see some nice loading into the trail side. Okay. One thing I would maybe advise, mate, just getting that stance width just a little bit wider. Give yourself a bit more of a stable base. And just be aware of your ball position here. So I know you've got the alignment stick there, but your ball position's actually further back than that. Okay, ball position's actually, I mean, when you meet the golf club, it's about there. So be careful that that's not creeping too far back. Okay, it's only a small detail, but trust me, mate, it's there's a lot of things that can happen from back ball positions. Okay, so just make sure that ball position's a little bit more middle stance, if not, slightly middle to forward. Widen those feet a little bit as well. Okay, now what I'm seeing from a face-on view, mate, is pretty good to the top. Nothing major we're looking at there, but what I see here is the amount of lateral shift you have or actually lack. Okay, so there's almost, there's a little bit of lateral here, but there's not a lot. So if we go back to, say, where you started, okay, we can see that really the only movement on the way down is a rotational movement. There's not a lot of pressure moving into that lead side. Now this is where that trail knee, trail foot don't work properly. Okay, so what I would call, there's no banking. So that foot's not moving in this way. Okay, it's not moving in that way because we don't have enough pressure moving laterally in our downswing. What you're going to see here as well, the amount of rotation you've got. Have a look at your lead foot. This is actually something new that I've seen here. So I haven't seen this from you before, but you see how the lead heel is up in the air and turning? So that tells me, mate, you've got all the pressure on your toes. Okay, so you're so rotational, you haven't got any pressure in that lead side in the right way. So we're getting too much on the toes and we're just rotating. And what that's doing to your upper body and lower body is it's just rotating it around the corner. Okay, so if we have more lateral in our golf swing, we're going to, for a better way, we're going to shallow the golf club a little bit more. Part of trying to shallow the golf club is actually needing some lateral movement in there. So right now with a rotational movement only, what happens is you've got your backswing in a pretty good spot. We've got heaps of depth, heaps of rotation. However, you don't laterally shift. So all you do is you just rotate and that upper body, lower body don't match up and we steepen the club. So we need to get some lateral in there and keep that left foot a little bit more on the ground and the pressure needs to be moving into the ball of the left foot in the downswing, and then as we start to come into impact, we're starting to rotate into the lead heel. Now again, when that happens, we're able to work that trail foot a little bit differently. Okay, that trail foot's not moving inward at all. Okay, so that's why you're getting the wipey cuts, and then you get, I also did see, so we can put a bottle behind your right heel there. Okay, we'll put a water bottle behind your right heel to help you with like banking that foot inwards. And then you can see here on the left, you also get that right heel, that right foot to kind of, a little bit like a Scotty Scheffler slide. See how that right foot kind of does its own thing through here? Okay, and then that right knee's kicking too far out towards the golf ball as well. So really, mate, I'd want you to hit some shots and just do some practice where the right foot's banking in, and we're going to be doing that by adding some lateral shift in the downswing. Okay? All right, mate, let's get stuck into this. All right, so as I stated, I think the backswing's looking pretty good. Backswing's looking pretty good. The only thing in your setup that I would be saying needs to be just worked on a little bit is obviously just a little bit wider stance, and just make sure, mate, that we're jumping in front of the mirror and just, here comes the pain in the backside. Just make sure we're getting into decent setup positions. Okay, so feet a little bit wider. A rule of thumb, you've probably seen me do this before now, but I kind of like 2 club heads sitting inside between my feet and the alignment stick. 2 club heads can fit. That kind of gives me a good reference point. Okay, I feel like if I had 3, that would, if the cat's tail wasn't there, that would be too wide. And I feel like if I could only fit 1, I really feel like I should be hitting like a 70-yard shot as opposed to a 150-yard shot. So two is kind of, pretty good in my opinion there, okay? Don't forget, we're just trying to get into that, to our setup position. So forward bending, a little bit of pressure left with the upper body tilted back, just a fraction. Again, sets us up for some good rotation, shaft lean at impact, shaft lean at setup, all the good stuff, okay? So just don't forget about those little fundamentals. Ball position again for you, right? So forward of center is ideal because, why not middle or why not just back? Well, because if we start to move forward in the downswing, we're going to, if the ball's, let's say the ball's middle of our stance right now and we move forward, we're essentially creating a more back ball position now, aren't we? So this could be something that has crept into your game, and why are we now rotating instead of moving laterally? Well, if that ball keeps going back, right, are we going to keep moving forward on that golf ball, do you think? Or do you think we're going to find a way to, I'm not saying you're doing this, but are we going to find a way to try and get that ball in the air, right? Because if we continue going this way, we're not going to get the ball in the air. So little things like that, mate. The brain and the body is a pretty smart thing. It can kind of manipulate anything at once, really. All right, so I guess the first thing we need to understand is without that lateral shift, the legs, the feet, the pressure shifting is not going to really work that well. Okay, so right now, that's actually a really strange one. I really struggle to copy this movement that you're doing. I've had a bunch of guys with this movement where get to the top okay, but then because we've only got rotation, right, as opposed to say lateral shift, because we've only got rotation, we're getting into the balls of our feet, and because we're in the balls of our feet a little bit too early, or because we don't have the lateral shift, we're in the balls of our feet. When we start to impact the golf ball, because we got no pressure on the heels, you see how this foot starts to want to, right? And that's kind of how it works. It's a really strange sensation for me. I really struggle to kind of make that move, but it makes sense that if you're going to only rotate, you're going to slide everything away. Whereas if I was to have some kind of lateral movement, at least at the start of my swing, right? Well, now as I rotate around the corner, that movement and the pressures in my feet start to go into my lead heel. What you'll notice here with your right foot is it's no longer going to go, let me try this. It's no longer going to go out and away. It's going to start to work more inwards this way. Look at the right foot and then move that way, okay? Hopefully that makes sense, all right? In regards to shallowing the golf club as well, nearly stood on him. You're in my way, mate. I'm probably in his way, to be fair. So in regards to shallowing, we do all the good work to the top, but then if we only rotate, that club is going to go this way. If we have some lateral, right, we can get this golf club coming down more from the inside, then that's what facilitates my rotation, and that's what allows that rotation into my left heel. Right now, you're giving no reason for your body to go into the left heel, okay? So, first thing I'd like us to do is just place a water bottle, mate, behind your right foot, okay, or behind the heel of the right foot. You're just going to put it, you can kind of put it just there. You're not going to hit it if you do the right thing, okay? And then all we're trying to feel here, mate, is you can drop the club as well. You don't have to use the club. We're just going to kind of feel like we get to the top, and you can do it with your arms crossed. Get to the top, have a little bit of lateral shift towards the target, and then from there, because I've got my lateral, I can now use the ground to push up and around, and you'll notice that that foot doesn't hit the water bottle, because if, let's say I did too much lateral, watch what happens to my right foot. Look how much, like, I can't keep it back here and go this way. All right, so I'm too far lateral. So we want to just feel like we're moving lateral that way, okay? You could even hit balls, mate, where you feel like this right foot is actually inward a little bit. Just like that. Might be a really strange sensation for you. Or even put a ball. You could put a ball just on the outside of your right foot when you're hitting some balls. Okay, so that's already presetting me to roll inward. Okay, that's probably a good drill for you there. Placing a ball on the right outside of the right foot. Presets us already kind of this way. Obviously load to the top. Okay, laterally shift, and then we can just get our foot off that ball. Okay, you could even do a little bit of a double whammy here. Really feel just some 3/4 shots. Okay, don't even have to hit balls. You can just get a bit of a feel for it. But we need to add a little bit of that lateral component as opposed to just the rotational component. All right, mate. Hopefully that makes sense.